Welcome to Guyana Roundup. I'm Curtis Tito. The Guyana Sugar Corporation Inc. has begun outreach programs for residents of communities in the vicinity of all estates. These meetings, which facilitate discussions, will be held at community centers in villages where estates are located. The first community meeting was held at the Wales Community Center on June 29, and the second at the Uitvlugt Community Center in West Demerara on July 5. The focus for discussion at Wales and Uitvlugt was on the Uitvlugt Estate Improvement Program. We will be right back with the highlights of the July 5 meeting.
Do you live in the West Demerara area and are looking for employment? Well, the Uitvlugt Estate Improvement Program presents just the right opportunity for you. The estate is in progress of increasing its production from 20,000 to 40,000 tons of sugar and has 406 vacancies in the agriculture department. The estate has vacancies for 298 cane harvesters, 48 planters, 15 chemical weed control hands, 12 rangers, 7 harvesting support hands, 6 field inspection or agronomy hands, 6 pest control hands, 5 shovelmen, 5 fertilizer hands, and 4 cane transport operators. Uitvlugt Estate is the largest business in West Demerara, so come and be part of our massive improvement program. Contact the Human Resources Department of Uitvlugt Estate, Uitvlugt West Coast Demerara on telephone numbers 277-3114-7.
I'd like to express, on behalf of the corporation's management, heartfelt thanks for the interest that you've shown in being here today. We recognize that you are important stakeholders in our business and its successes and failures. What I'm trying to say is that we recognize you as partners in this business, and it is with this in mind that we feel the need to share with you our plans for the sustainability of Uitvlugt Estate. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about Guyana and its perils and challenges in recent years. Most of you have relatives, family members, some connection to either somebody who works with the estate or provide a service for the estate. And you may have your own concerns about what is happening at Uitvlugt and how it will affect you and your families. The key purpose of today's engagement is to share with you some information on the new Guyana concept, the diversification at Wales Estate, and Uitvlugt Estate's improvement plan, and to encourage discourse on the involvement of residents in the various communities along the sugar belt towards supporting the sustainability of Uitvlugt as a sugar estate.
This outreach will be across the sugar belt. So after we are finished with West Demerara, this is our second meeting in this area. We'll be going to East Coast, and then we'll go to the Berbice community. But for some of you, this is new, this is different. Why community meetings? There's a lot that you've been hearing about Guyana. There's a lot that some of us, for those of you who work with the organization, there's a lot that we've been experiencing. And so this afternoon, we've invited you to talk about Guyana. And like Ms. Sayre said, that was Ms. Sayre, she's the Human Resources Manager for Uitvlugt Estate. And they've been doing some great work at Uitvlugt Estate to improve the estate. But this afternoon, we'd like to talk to you about the Uitvlugt Estate Improvement Program. But I will talk about the new Guyana. And you've been hearing a lot about Guyana. But what is this new Guyana? The new Guysuco, for those of you who would have heard, I hope that most of you would have heard, some of you might have read the state paper. It proposes that Guysuco, the future of Guysuco, will comprise of a diversification component as well as a sugar component. Just to let you know that the Sustainable Communities Program is a program that we're currently examining, and hopefully we'll start rolling it out very shortly, which is to ensure and sort of to secure, in a sense, these communities and to ensure that they do not necessarily experience this kind of vulnerability again. I said finally before, but this is lastly. One of the things we'd like to do at this point in time is part of the immediate need that we have is to improve our attendance. And a lot of the other speakers after me will be talking about that. Part of why we're here is to talk to you about the business of sugar. And the business of sugar is that sugar it's a labor-intensive industry. And so therefore, if planters do not turn out to work, then we wouldn't get to plant. You know this better than I do. Then we can only reap what we sow. That's an old principle, and it's very applicable to the Guysuco scenario. So we can only reap what we sow. So if the planters do not turn out, then when we're ready to harvest, we can only reap what we would have sown. Agreed? So part of this drive here is that the community has an integral role to play in, as it relates to the business of sugar.
We're all aware that the decision to have Wales go out of sugar was in January, 15th of January, around that time of 2016 last year. And we went through the first crop and the second crop, took off the cane successfully, and we embarked on the diversification project at Wales Estate. Now, the thing about it is that, you know, the sugar industry is an ever-evolving industry. It is about 350 years old. At one time, we had about 365 estates, but these were small estates scattered along the coastal region of Guyana, from Essequibo to Berbice. But over time, those were contracted, and you know, in 1976, we became the Guyana Sugar Corporation. But even then, we continued to evolve. And what has driven this evolution of sugar is basically what's happening in the world market with prices. We're getting pretty low prices in sugar right now, and what we've got to do is consolidate the industry. Our costs are very high, labor costs are very high, it's a very costly exercise. You can't produce at 35 US cents per pound and sell for 16 and 17 US cents per pound. That's not business. So what we've got to do is reshape and retool the sugar industry so that it can remain economically viable. And in so doing, we want to look at forming what is referred to as a multifaceted industry, where we're not only looking at sugar as the sole product, but we're also looking at other forms of produce that will enable us to be economically viable. And to this end, we've started a process at Wales. Wales Estate has several projects which are going to come on stream pretty shortly. And one of them, which is on stream right now, is the seed paddy project. Where Wales is concerned, those categories that were made, that were severed, and inclusive of those employees that are there, as we move towards these new ventures, you know, there is land available that we can form partnerships with them. And they can, you know, cultivate some of this land. These are all thinking, these are all lines. So it's not that we've left the community, and the message that is going on there is a wrong message. We have not abandoned our workforce. We're working all the time to ensure the survivability of the community and ensure that we provide gainful employment for our people. The second objective, profitable utilization development of now vacant sugarcane lands in the medium term while providing valuable insight into the most efficient way of developing sugarcane fields for other agricultural activities. And I just felt out what those activities were. And to establish a model farm review demonstrating best practices to our growers.
Let me say how heartfelt it is to have the community, the business community among us here this afternoon. Why we here this afternoon? You would have been told through Ms. Adriana and Mr. Kumar, they're part of it. But more importantly here this afternoon is us to say to you what is lingering in our minds and being told to you. Sugar is here to stay over at Uitvlugt. We recall many discourses you would have had when it was said that we are not certain the fate of Uitvlugt. At this point in time, I need to tell you without fail that we will be the only sugar producing estate in the Demerara region. We to ensure that this is one that will be providing sugar throughout the Demerara region. I want to reassure you, and I'm doing this on behalf of myself and staff here at Uitvlugt Estate, that we will be working towards producing 40,000 tons of sugar, closing in by year 2020. I'm confident that the agriculture team at Uitvlugt Estate is more than capable of producing 40,000 tons of sugar. We have a plan. We have a great plan, I must tell you. And today is the day that we've been revealing it to you, because we need to tell those who are of the view that sugar will not be here any longer and will be closing after a while. It's nowhere going to happen. I came here a year and a half ago. We toiled it together. Together we have started the process. And together we will end the process by producing 40,000 tons of sugar. Sugar is no stranger to us all here. You would have known it. My career would have taken me over 33 years working with sugar. Many of my colleagues here are back here and reach. We are all optimistic that we will achieve that. We have started the process. It's looking quite challenging. It's looking quite achievable at the same time. But what is most important of all is that our application to the job. We need to be more concerned what's happening here than concerned about what people are saying out there. We are fortunate to have it in our house here today to say that Uitvlugt been considered when we would have noticed Wales going diversified. We will have Enmore or East Demerara going diversified. We have Rose Hall going diversified to a point. Us here is not contracting, but we are saying that we are going to 40. At this point in time, by the end of this year, we should be closing in on 18. And so you will want to ask me, how is it that you're going to be getting in another 3 years? Double or a little more than doubling the production we currently have in. Well, we would have looked at things differently because we recognize that we don't have adequate labor force to take us through to 40,000 tons of sugar, and more so the 6,005 hectares of this cultivation to farm it alone. So we have started the process over 3 years ago, and we are building on it. To date, what would have happened? To date, we would have seen that we have to farm the 6,005 hectares of estate cultivation, attracting farmers from further field. At this point in time, we have over 1,000 hectares of land that is currently on the farm with farmers. We have a little over 3,000 hectares farming done by the estate. And we would have also recognized that those farmers farming in the West Bank area, which we expect to have about 1,750 hectares, currently we have seen expression of interest showing almost 950 hectares. So you would have seen it. It's no longer Uitvlugt Estate and Uitvlugt Estate workforce. We have it in 3 dimensions, so to speak. We have in the estate doing a portion. We have the estate leasing land to farmers to do their part, and we have the canal farmers coming on board with us. Together we will achieve those numbers we talked about.
It's a passionate team, Guysuco. And so this team, Guysuco, also we'd like to also recognize at this point the support of our Chief Executive, Mr. Eric Hanneman, our Finance Director, Mr. Paul Bing, our Human Resources Director, Mr. Oral John, also the Technical Services Director, Mr. Joseph Alfred, and our Agricultural Director, Mr. Dr. Harold Davis. We also like to recognize the support from the Board of Directors that's headed by Professor Clyde Thomas. And part of this afternoon is to assure you that Guysuco is going through a challenging time, but from what we've seen this afternoon, that it's also an excellent opportunity for us to renew Guysuco. It's an excellent opportunity for us to reorganize, re-engineer Guysuco, and that's what we're doing. So the floor is now open for your questions.
Mention was made earlier in respect of the road or dam west of the main road going into the estate, right? My concern is that during the wet season, I think it won't pose a problem, but during the dry season, there'll be dust. What would happen to the resident living west of that dam? Is there any provision in place to combat the pollution of the dust?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Manna.
All right, as I said, it's a temporary arrangement for us to have those cane carts parked there. And also you would have recognized they say we care for people too, not only producing 40,000 tons of sugar. Along the roadway, we bring the canes from the Lenora area, Drumvelt, way onto the access road, the main carriageway into Uitvlugt here. We will be taking care of these areas. Inclusive will be the soaking of the area we will be used to park these trailers. We will take care of it. And it's nothing new again. My tenure over at Barbies, when I was walking there, you just make me remember the Tien Road coming out from the cultivation. It was almost a daily basis. We used to be soaking that road because it was the wind side of a settlement Tien. So it's no different. We will be taking care of that. In fact, when I went for permission from the commander of this division, I also mentioned that to him. I will be responsible for maintaining the access and the parking area. So you can rest assured we will do it until we're ready to remove from that area.
Thank you, Mr. Manna.
The union of clay that is a 10-mile reach, they have. I have the agreement, Mr. Rampatab, take it out once in front of me because you're handling an issue. I don't know how the union is saying that workers cannot travel from here to Wales where they're being paid when the agreement states clearly, and Mr. Manna, I think you is at fault. You should have printed the agreement, let the people know what the union is doing, and just fooling the people Being a representative in 8 years, a pension in 8 years, I know the agreement, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that comment. And we're going to take a few more comments from you. But part of while we wait on others, I'd just like to say a few things. That part of our community outreach is about really getting the communities to grow with us. Guysuco is growing. Some people say that we've been saying that sugar is too big to fail, but we're not saying sugar is too big to fail. We're saying Guysuco is too big to fail. and we will not let Guysuco fail. And so we're asking the community to grow with us, grow with Guysuco. And we're also saying that for the second crop, the gentleman before, he asked for assistance for the community. But this is where we're asking you to help Uitvlugt Estate, or the business of sugar at Uitvlugt Estate, to prosper by getting the planters to come out and plant and the harvesters to come out and harvest. The more sugar we harvest, it's the more income we will earn, the more income our employees will earn, and it's the more income will go into the communities. It's also the more that we can do as a corporation. So a lot of what we've been doing as a corporation, we can do more if we're able to earn more. So help us to do that. I would like to know, just for 10 seconds, a wrap up from members of the head table. And so we're each going to have 10 seconds to make your final statement, and then we're going to call this meeting to a close.
Good evening, everybody. Just to introduce myself, my name is Tulsiram Sulal. I'm the Industrial Relations Officer. What I want to encourage each and every one of you, because when I look across the room, I see people from a cross section from the estate. What I want you guys to do for me, and I'm asking on behalf of every single body, management team from Uitvlugt, is that you need to go out, because this crop is going to start, I think Uitvlugt crop is going to start sometime in August. I need you guys to go out there and encourage your cane harvesting friends, and maybe your brothers and your sisters, whoever they are. Because remember, when we're in the crop, we need to ensure that we supply that factory with cane 24 hours for 6.5 days in a week. And if we go out there and encourage those guys to come out to work, because like Mr. Sugu said, they're peace-rated workers, and they have the opportunity to have a higher earnings if the output is greater. So they have to come out to work, supply that factory, and as we go from second crop 2017 to 2020, we can together achieve that 40,000 tons of sugar that we hope to achieve. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. Just to say, I've been working in sugar quite some time, since 1991, and I have the greatest respect for employees, because at one time I used to be a representative of the employees. What we need to say to you is this. You yourself as an individual is thinker for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for your job area. Sometimes you as an individual is looked upon as a leader for groupings that you work among, because not every one of us thinks same. Sometimes colleagues come to you for advice, and sometimes across your various meetings you're advised to do things that you think that is not right. I would wish to advise you that things are changing. Uitvlugt Estate is one of the estates that will remain, and we saw what is happening across the industry. You'll be called upon from time to time, because as you recognize, I'm the Chief Industrial Relations Manager of the company. Part of my job is to deal with strikes and indiscipline across the industry. And I could tell you from top to bottom what strikes and indiscipline. I wish that the employees and your colleagues, because you're neighbor of some employees, you're neighbor of persons that work in the estate, that you advise them, you question them, you counsel them. Because not every time there's a strike, they're fully aware of why there's a strike. I mean, I've been there, I've done it, and I know what it is. So you need, and I always say to people that my motivation to work is the 3 mouths that I have to feed. I have 3 sons. And that's the only thing that motivates me. Nothing else can motivate me. Thank you.
Right, good evening again, everybody. Let me thank Ms. Thomas and the management of Uitvlugt Estate for the invitation to come across here and the opportunity to be able to show what we're doing there at Wales Estate. Notwithstanding that, I want to assure you all that we will continue at Wales on the ground to work with the harvesters there, because even though there is a general thinking that, you know, with the severance and they're not going to come here at Uitvlugt and so on, that's only by a small crew that are influential, you know, being influential over the majority. I do believe that with the good things that have been shown here, not only today, what has been shown here that is happening at Uitvlugt, but has already met the media, and the good works that are going on here. And I've seen this cultivation for myself, and it has improved, and improved significantly within a short space of time. We at Wales remain fully committed to getting our harvesters to come across here, and we'll continue to work with them so that you can have a successful second crop and thereafter a successful future here at Wales Estate. Thank you. Uitvlugt Estate, thank you.
All right, as you would have heard it, the 40,000 tons of sugar is definitely icebreaker, so to speak. While the 40,000 tons of sugar is our vision to achieve by the next 3 years, we have to understand clearly that our mission needs to be accomplished. 40,000 tons of sugar would have taken a course of action before it can be realized. And to that end, our mission is to ensure that each and every year, each and every crop, each and every week, as of now, targets being achieved, so that you will not wonder if it can actually happen. You will see it materializing in just fine time. Let our mission be to ensure that we produce what is it we would have been tasked to produce on a crop basis, a yearly basis, from now to 2020, and all the suspect feeling that we have within us will be erased. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the head table. I would just like to say that as a corporation, we have started to set very high standards, and we're saying throughout the corporation, set high standards for yourself as employees. We're saying to the communities, to our stakeholders, hold us to high standards. And like I said before, except we're a disciplined corporation and except we have a high degree of order, we will not be successful. And so we're going to set the standards and work towards being successful.
Meanwhile, on July 6, residents of Enmore and neighboring communities on the east coast of Demerara attended the first community meeting aimed at creating an understanding of the roles of communities in improving attendance on estates for the second crop. On next week's program, we'll bring you highlights of the event. Subsequent meetings will be held at Blaymont, Rose Hall, Albion and Skeldon community centers for residents of the estate communities. The general aim of the outreach program is to mobilize cane harvesters, planters and cane transport operators, their families and communities around the importance of improving attendance at all estates in order to sustain the industry. This has been Guyana Sugar Roundup. Thank you for staying tuned and do join us again next week. I'm Curtis Seatel. Goodbye.